Well, welcome everyone to our webinar. We're really excited to talk to you today about social emotional learning that you can do with Canva for Education. We've got some amazing guests here joining us today, so we can't wait to get started. So to introduce ourselves, first of all, my name is Daniela from Canva, and I'm joined by my colleague, Kelsey. Kelsey, do you want to say hello?
Hey everyone, so excited to have you here.
So Kelsey and I are on the education team at Canva. Canva's actually split across a few offices. So I'm based in Austin, Texas, and Kelsey is in Sydney, Australia. And we're joined by the amazing Sally Stevens, who is a school mental health administrator at Los Angeles Unified School District. But not only that as well, we're joined by some of her amazing colleagues who are psychiatric social workers. We have Robin, Alex, Jessica, and Camille, all from Los Angeles School District. And they're going to be here today to talk through the different social emotional learning activities that we have in Canva and share their expertise and insights on how you can use it with your students. So just a quick run through of our agenda. We'll do a quick intro into Canva for Education, since I know many of you will be new to the product. Then we'll do a very quick intro into what social emotional learning is and the importance of it with Sally. Then we'll jump into the actual activities we've got for social emotional learning in Canva and how you can use them in your classroom. Then we'll talk about some amazing templates we've released in time for Black History Month, and we'll have time at the end for a Q&A. And if you missed what I was saying earlier, if you've got a burning question, please pop it in the Q&A, not in the chat, and we'll get to it at the end of the session. But feel free to network and chat in the chat box as well. And in case anyone's wondering, we will be recording everything and sharing it after. We always do that with all our webinars. And you'll be able to access a PD certificate afterwards as well. So I'll hand over to Kelsey.
Awesome. So let's start with a quick intro to Canva for Education. The founders of Canva looked at design and discovered that creating good design was complex. First, you needed software, you had to study design, purchase and download stock photos to use, slice up each image, and put this all together into a design, and then prepare it for the web or print. So the idea for Canva came about to make design simple and integrated, allowing people to collaborate online, get access to professional design tools in one click, a library of images, and the ability to publish anything to anywhere. So at Canva, we're on a mission to empower the world to design. And we want to empower creativity and collaboration in every classroom. At Canva, we live by our values. They are our shared beliefs of how we work, how we treat each other, and why we're building this company. We're investing in education, as be a force for good is our most important core value. So education is absolutely free. Canva for Education gives you access to Canva Pro, which includes millions of premium images, fonts, videos, and templates. You can remove backgrounds from photos and schedule posts with the content planner. You can create presentations, adding your voiceover and video and sharing. You can collaborate with your entire class with a dedicated classroom space where you can invite students and share and review together. And you can also assign work for students to complete individually or in groups and mark their work in Canva or use Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom. So if you haven't already got Canva for Education, head on to canva.com/edu sign up. It's 100% free. And there's no limit on how many teachers or students from your school can join. There are no hidden charges or upgrades. Just use your school email domain to sign up. Or if you already have a Canva account, log in first and then head to edu sign up to upgrade to Canva for Education. So now I'll pass it back over to Daniela, give you an intro on social emotional learning.
Thanks, Kelsey. And we'll put that link in the chat so you can access the sign up link. So now we're thinking about social emotional learning. So I'm joined by Sally. And Sally, to kick things off, I'd like to ask you, why is social emotional learning so important?
Yeah, so social emotional learning is kind of needed by all of us. It's something that we need for lifelong, and it's something that we're always developing. So I'm needing the social awareness to understand kind of where you're at and empathize with you. I'm also needing self-awareness to understand my emotions, kind of my thoughts and my values, which is then going to help me be able to have better self-management skills. So it's going to be able to regulate my emotions, my thoughts and my behaviors in different situations, and be able to set goals for ourselves, and also to keep us organized and motivated. This is going to help us make responsible decisions because we're going to have the ability to understand where you're at, where I'm at. I'm going to have that motivation. I'm going to be able to take information in and make some decisions. And then that's going to help maintain my healthy, supportive relationships so that I can work collaboratively, like on a team. Social emotional learning has been shown with data to show that students are able to improve their academics. It's been shown to manage their stress and their mental health. Research has shown that it's been able to lower levels of anxiety, behavior issues in the classroom, and substance abuse, because students are able to have the coping skills that they need to be able to deal with the problems at hand.
Fantastic. And taking a bit of a deeper dive here, Sally, how can social emotional learning support students in this new learning reality specifically?
Yeah, so the remote environment is a challenge for all of us, right? Those of us in education and for our students. It's difficult to stay engaged because we're not having those same bucket fillers, like seeing my teacher's beautiful smiley face, having my teacher praise me in the same way, getting to know me. I feel like it's the same even for us as educators. Like our bucket fillers aren't quite there as much. We're not having that incidental time with each other. And so also this enables a different level of conversation for us to engage in and kind of teach these things. Students aren't able to engage with each other, let's say on the playground, where they would maybe have a problem of, sharing and things. So students are missing out on this. And so we formally taking it on ourselves in this way, we're able to kind of support that learning of teamwork and engagement and collaboration and cooperation, right? These are all skills I don't always want to share everything that I have even now, right? And so students are able to build better communication skills and then also recognize where their feelings are so they can, again, make those better decisions and kind of do the work instead of maybe procrastinating and playing video games and say, okay, this is my work today and how can I challenge it?
Fantastic. And then based on your experiences, Sally, what would your top tips be for educators trying to include social emotional learning in their classroom and maybe not knowing where to start?
Yeah, so I always feel like start with where you're kind of at. So think of the skills that you need or that you're noticing of your students and kind of engage within that. So we were all students at one point in a classroom, so what were some of those skills that, really kind of, shaped your life as a professional? Our students are needing those same level of skills. And even though it might be a little bit uncomfortable, as I mentioned, it's just so great to see students' academics and then also their relationships just increase. And then this is going to help foster resilience and give our students the ability to bounce back from hard situations, such as what we're in. I can't wait to go back to be on a campus again, to see students and smiling faces.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sally. That was fantastic. Thank you for summarizing that so amazingly. Now we're going to move on to the main part of the webinar, where we're going to talk about how you can hands-on deliver social emotional learning activities with Canva. So like I said at the beginning, we've got some amazing new templates that we've worked in partnership with Los Angeles School District experts from there, and they're here to talk through the activities now. So we're going to start with a few themes. So again, all these templates are 100% free, and you can use them as soon as you get a Canva account and sign up for Canva for Education. So we have 3 themes. We have mood checks, we have wellness, and we have difficult conversations. So the first theme we're going to talk through mood checks. So let's look at the activities for those. And I'm going to hand over to Robin, who's going to talk us through the first activity.
Awesome. So we can kind of highlight in on that thermometer looking thing, right? And so mood checks are something that you can do when the kids first get to class in the morning, if it's younger kids, when they're coming back from lunch, right? If you're virtual because of COVID, doing distance learning. You could even have it be up on the screen when they're coming into the classroom, right? Mood checks can be done at many different times of day. And so a lot of these worksheets that we have and activities, they're centered around this thermometer. And so I'm going to kind of give you an example of how to teach your students what this thermometer is. And so you can kind of participate in the chat, okay? So usually I'll show them a thermometer without the colors and say, what does this look like? And eventually they'll get a thermometer. And then I'll ask them, what does a thermometer do, right? What does it tell us? So go ahead and put in the chat, what do you think a thermometer tells us? Or maybe some of my panelists want to help me out. I'm seeing the temperature. Yeah. So a lot of times we use thermometers to tell the weather, or it can tell temperature, like your personal temperature. So you can tell how sick you are. And so the higher up on the thermometer it goes, the more sick we are, right? That means the higher our fever. Okay. And so I'll tell them that the feeling thermometer works in a very similar way. And so you start off at the bottom in the green, and you have little emojis there from Canva showing you it's like a happy face, right? So in the green, we have our comfortable feelings, like happy and excited, or just okay. And as you move up higher, the more intense those feelings become, and the more uncomfortable you become. So maybe in the yellow, you'll have nervous or shy, right? And then when you move up to the orange, you might be angry. But there's, even though sad or angry or worried, right, there's different levels of those emotions. So they may be in the yellow, the orange, or the red, but the higher up it goes with the color, the more uncomfortable it is, the more intense that feeling is, okay? And so this worksheet right here, what it's asking you to do with the younger kids is to teach the thermometer, and then to see if they understand it, you would have them color in the feeling with the facial expression that matches which color on the thermometer. So like happy would be green, right? Love would be green, versus maybe shy might be in the yellow. And this is really subjective. So you may see them come in a couple different colors, but you're trying to check for understanding to see, do they know how the feeling thermometer works? And something you can even add is like circling which one they're feeling in that moment so that you can see. And so you can use the thermometer to do checks, like you can put it on the board or have it up as a slide. And as kids are coming in, you can ask them, like, what color are you in today? And if you're noticing that the whole class is in like the orange or the red, or most students are, maybe you do an activity together, like you do a deep breathing exercise, or you can go on YouTube and you can find a mindfulness or a guided relaxation exercise to do as a class, right? And that could help bring kids down from the red or the orange to maybe the yellow or the green, because we all know that students who are in the red are going to have a harder time retaining the information that you're teaching them. So they're going to have a harder time being ready to learn because they're focused on whatever difficulties are happening at home. Maybe there was a death in the family or domestic violence, or maybe someone's bullying them, or maybe they're just not, like something happened, they had nightmares and they need to calm down, right? We don't know what's going on, but we can check in using the thermometer. And just because a kid's in the red one day doesn't mean you have to pull them out and talk to them individually. But if you notice like a couple days in a row, it's not changing, then I totally would. You can just ask them, hey, I noticed you've been in the red. Do you want to talk about it? I care about you, so I'm here to listen. Do you want to talk to a counselor? What happened? Is someone bothering you, right? So you can talk to them individually if you'd like to, and refer them to a counselor if needed. Let's go to the next activity. All right, and so the next one is a poster that you can have as put up in your room, or you can have it as a slide. And it doesn't have the thermometer on it, but you can see that at the very top, it says, what color are you feeling today? And it goes green, yellow, orange, red. And you can kind of connect it to the thermometer, right? The higher up was in the red and the green was at the bottom. And so this poster is really focused on teaching coping skills. And so just like I just taught you guys how to talk about the thermometer, to teach coping skills, I would tell them, okay, when you're sick and you have a fever, what do you do to feel better? So go ahead and put in the chat, when you have a fever and you're sick, what are things that maybe you do or your kids do to feel better so that your temperature can go down? So I'm seeing take Tylenol, sleep, rest, for sure. a cold claw, drinking lots of fluids for sure, maybe some soup, and listen to calming music. Yeah, some kids might say, I stay home from school and I sleep, right? And so just like we do in the regular thermometer when we have a fever, we're going to do things to bring our temperature down. In our feeling thermometer, we do the same thing. We're going to use a coping skill to bring us from the red maybe to the orange, or from the orange to the yellow. We're not always going to go from red to green, but we're going to be able to regulate our emotions a little bit better. And so on this poster, you're going to see ways to get back to green. And so some of them might be for home, right? Like maybe watering the plants or walking your dog or hugging your mom. Those might be things that you do at home. But at school, there are so many things that you can offer to the kids in the classroom, like taking deep breaths or drinking water or asking to go to the restroom, right? Or maybe you have stress balls in your classroom, or you can teach them progressive muscle relaxation. There are so many things on YouTube. If you Google it, you can learn from other teachers. There's lots of ways of incorporating mindfulness and relaxation into the classroom, because we all know that in order to be ready to learn, we have to be calm and we have to be comfortable and relaxed. And so our goal would be for kids to be in the green, maybe a little bit in the yellow when they're learning. And also on this, it has a thing about if you're in the red, maybe stop, think, and breathe. And these are just ways to kind of reinforce that wherever you're at on the thermometer, that you can regulate your emotions. All right.
All right, hi everyone. I'm going to be talking about the Meet Your Mood meter. This is a feelings identification exercise that we would typically use with older grades. So we're thinking more like 9th through 12th grade, you know, that high school age, maybe middle school age. It really depends on your student population. And so this is going to be a chart that shows our level of joy or pleasantness or happiness compared to our energy level. So it's a really cool worksheet because, you know, I think kids are pretty used to answering the question, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And typical responses include good, fine, bad. So this activity really helps them expand their knowledge of feelings and also makes them consider how feelings affect energy level, which is something that I don't think students always consider, especially when we have like physical symptoms, when we're maybe feeling bad, where we're having low energy, where we find ourselves in the blue. So if I was a teacher in the classroom, you know, whether we're in person or virtual, I would make sure to explain the chart to them, right? We see the different zones. We see the red zone, yellow, green, and blue, and read through some of those terms, right? So we would highlight maybe that the word motivated and that feeling is more of a positive or pleasant feeling and maybe means we have more energy, right? As compared to exhausted, which maybe means we're feeling a little bit more mad or bad and a little bit more tired, low energy. So I would make sure to model what the mood meter actually like means. And then how I would run this activity is I would look to the words on the very bottom and kind of as a whole class or maybe in partners, you know, read out those words and try and plot them and maybe have students, you know, answer where they think a word like friendly might go. So for example, you could type in the chat, where do you think the word friendly falls on the mood meter? Is it in the red zone, the yellow, the green, or the blue zone? So you guys can go ahead, type in the chat where you think friendly might fit. And I should also point out that there is no right answer. This could be a tool for discussion and for students to recognize their individual differences, because friendly for me might fall more in the yellow zone, but I'm seeing a lot of panelists and people in the chat saying maybe in the green. Okay, so maybe we're identifying that as more of a positive feeling or a pleasant feeling, but we're not sure about the energy level. So that is how I would use that in the classroom. And I would also add, this is a great tool to expand vocab and make sure we know more than the feeling words good, bad, fine, okay. And if we could go to the next slide. All right, so we are going to transition to more infographics related to wellness. And so these are really fun ones where we get to really talk about self-care and coping skills.
Thank you. I really like implementing the wellness component to our social emotional learning. It really does just promote student well-being, building healthy coping skills, and promoting community care. So what I really like about this wellness weekly calendar, it's super fun and allows you to track your classroom wellness check-ins. You can edit these templates, you can modify them, and really just meet the needs of your classrooms. If we were in person, I could picture putting this up on the projector as we're having breakfast in class, or even virtually at the beginning of the day to really initiate the how are you feeling conversation. We can build community among our classroom, our students, using these reflective questions, creating a safe space for them to explore how they feel. For example, on Thoughtful Thursday, the discussion is like, think about a time someone did something kind for you, how it made you feel. So you're really just having them reflect on those feelings and just like fostering that idea of they also could be kind to others. And again, these are all, you can edit them, it's a template. And if we can go on to the next activity, please. On Well Done Wednesdays, we could dedicate maybe a time to acknowledge our students' efforts. We know students thrive on positive reinforcement. Praising them with virtual badges can foster that positive connection and allow them to feel seen and allow them to feel appreciated. So you can print these out, use them as stickers, maybe hand them out if you're in person, hand them out as they complete a task, a lesson. I've personally used these as virtual badges as they finish a lesson with me, and students really like collecting them. It's almost like a Girl Scout, like collect the badges. It's super neat, and you can print these out as well. If we can go on to the next activity. And on this one, on Thinking Thursday, or our school uses Thoughtful Thursday. Again, these templates are, you can edit them, make them your own. I really like this chart because it really just challenges students to think outside the box. We can support them in helping others. This chart also can be used as an assignment, as a homework, where they can identify acts of kindness, and we can encourage them to be brave and try them out in their communities or in their classrooms. You can have them try it out, maybe reflect in class the next day just to initiate that conversation, get it going, and also maybe allowing them to journal about their experience. I think one of them is like do something nice. I believe it's do something nice for someone else. So just like having them go out and spread that kindness in their communities. Thank you.
All right, so we are going to enter the section talking about difficult conversations. So we know in the school environment, whether we are working at an elementary school, middle school, or high school, things come up, right? It's a job working with people. And so Canva put together some templates for us to start those conversations as early as elementary school. So this is the box of crayons activity, and like Jessica was saying, these templates can be edited to fit your needs and your student needs, whether you're in person or virtual. But this activity is designed to start talking about diversity and differences in the younger grades as early as, first grade. So this gives directions to lead students through an activity with a box of crayons. So the first direction says, pick out a single crayon from your teacher's box. If that direction doesn't work for you, right, maybe you're just going to assign students one color, or there's already a color on their desk, something like that. The point is that they're going to start coloring, drawing a picture of their choice with one color. They're going to be able to do that for about 5 minutes, or however, how long you want them to. After that, you're going to switch up the directions and give students the options to color with all the colors that are available to them, and draw a picture of their choice, or maybe you even have them draw the same picture, but now with multiple colors. I thought that could be a really great idea. And this is really an activity to prompt discussion surrounding differences, diversity, and when we have access to more, things are maybe more beautiful. I think that is the message we're trying to lead students to. And I know in the younger grades, it can be hard to have these conversations, but this is a really good, kind of segue into a larger conversation about respecting differences, appreciating them, all from this color activity.
Okay, so as Alexandra explained, it's really important for teachers to facilitate difficult discussions with their students. So this specific activity is one that is particularly about privilege and should be used more so with older students, 4th grade and above. So to begin with this activity, teachers should introduce the topic of privilege. And before kind of defining the term, you would want to start this activity. So again, as everyone has said, you can modify it as you need to fit your classroom needs. So to start the activity, you move a recycling bin to the front of your classroom and explain to students that the trash represents success in life and each student is a member in society. So provide each student with a piece of paper to crumble, and from there explain to the student that the only rule is that they have to stay in their seat and throw the paper into the trash can. So you'll start to see as students are throwing the trash, they will not make it into the basket and they will be a little bit like, well, it's too far for me, or this person's closer, it's not fair. So you'll see that the discussion questions are here given to you. There's great discussion questions of like, why do you think some people were more successful in doing this? How does this represent society? So this would be a pretty good option for introducing privilege to your 4th and 6th grade student. And for the next one, so this is more so a poster that can be displayed in the classroom at all times. Sorry, I'm getting a little nervous. Let me calm myself down. I'm in the yellow zone. But so we talked a little bit about the mood meter. And so what you saw earlier, it's kind of, the traffic signals of the poster can be used for grades 7 through 9. And you'll see it kind of follows the mood meter. So the green, the yellow, and the red. And so the important thing is, thank you, that you want to make sure that the students are comfortable when you are discussing difficult topics. So you want to start off with teaching them about triggers and having them understand triggers and what that means for them, and let them know that it's okay. It is absolutely okay if you're uncomfortable discussing different topics. But this will allow them to, at the beginning of class, if you know you're having a difficult conversation with them, saying, okay, will this conversation make you in the yellow, the red, or the green? And you can put like little note cards on their desk so that they can just say, you know what, I'm a yellow for this one. So I need to take some deep breaths before doing this one. Or I'm a red, I need to take a break, and maybe they need to go see a counselor because it's something that's really triggering for them.
Perfect modeling, Camille. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much to the amazing team at LAUSD for taking us through all of those templates and how to effectively use them in the classroom. I'm so excited to see what all of you can do with these activities. To find out more, you can just head to the link that we just shared in the chat, and we'll also share it after the webinar in a follow-up email as well. We just wanted to quickly go over how you can actually share these activities with your students, whether you're remote or in person. Sharing on Canva is super easy. There's a ton of options. The main way you do it is you go to the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of the editor and you get a list of sharing options. So you can download your designs, you can share a link directly with your students, you can save them to a class folder, which is a subset of students. You can share them to different LMSs like Google Classroom or Microsoft. You can even print them and hang them around your classroom for some of the poster items. So there's a ton of ways to share. It's really easy, supports both in person and remote, but I'll hand it back over to Daniela now, who will take you through some exciting Black History Month content we just released.
Thanks, Kelsey, and thank you again to our amazing guests who did a fantastic job of explaining and modeling those activities. Like I said at the beginning of the session, we've got some amazing templates in time for Black History Month. We've got some learning activities talking about Black historical figures, so posters. We have worksheets that you can do to start to learn about them, and also present day Black figures as well. So there's a lot in there. We also have some amazing Google Classroom headers with quotes that you can decorate with, and classroom announcements as well. So it's not just worksheets or posters, there's all different types of amazing content in there and templates. So check out that link and everything is in there. You can also search Black History Month on Canva to find these templates as well. If you just scroll down, you'll find them there as well. And now I'll hand back over to Kelsey.
Awesome. So we'll just share some additional resources that can be helpful as you learn more about Canva for Education. So we've just launched a new onboarding guide for teachers. It'll give you all the tips and tricks and how to use Canva in your classroom. You can download it and share it. We also have video tutorials available on how to use Canva for Education. We'll send the link in the chat and again after in an email. And then we have a really awesome design school, which can be used to teach yourself, but can also be shared as learning materials to teach your students. There are tons of topics, especially around design, understanding the color wheel, font pairing, all that sort of stuff. And we'd love if you would join our Facebook group for teachers. We post all new Canva for Education features, new templates like the SEL ones we just went through. You can reach out to our team directly with questions or chat to all the other teachers using Canva for inspiration in your classroom. Awesome. So now we can head to the Q&A portion. I know we have a few questions that have gone into Q&A, but that would be the best place to put them. It's much easier for our team to send them off to the right people to answer. So maybe to start, we'll throw one to the LAUSD team. We had a question around how you can navigate the concept of a thermometer when it's potentially activating or triggering given the pandemic. Do you have any suggestions there?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that this is triggering, right? Like we're going to have days where highs and lows. And I've been calling it like my awesome circus, right? Because I'm supporting my own children in my household as well as myself professionally. And just normalizing, yeah, we may have a day where we just stay in the orange, right? And so it's like, if there's something that I could do though to get you to come down in the yellow, we're going to model that help-seeking behavior. And then just also, again, like having that child feel seen and then help supporting their resilience to bounce back. Join in, team, if I missed something.
Yeah, I wanted to add too, like, just because you bring it up doesn't mean they're not already feeling all those emotions that are really intense being in a pandemic, right? So kind of like avoiding it and keeping it as the elephant in the room is going to make it even harder for our kids to learn how to regulate. So by introducing the thermometer, you're just giving them language to talk about what they're going through, and you're teaching them the skills, like coping skills, and how to regulate to move down from red maybe to orange, so that they can get through those difficult emotions. And so honestly, by bringing it in the room, it's not going to trigger them completely. But if they are in the red, you want to be able to teach them how to use coping skills and give them options that they can use to regulate themselves, or refer them to a counselor if that's really what they need.
Amazing, thanks so much. Maybe Daniela and Sally can speak to this one, but There was a question around whether or not there was a framework or an organization that Canva used to create these templates. We did it in partnership with all of these amazing people on the call, so maybe you guys can speak to that.
Yeah, so the feeling thermometer is a little bit on the cognitive behavioral therapy. Once we're able to kind of like recognize our feelings, we're able to switch our thoughts, which will then able to impact our behaviors and actions. So if I'm able to recognize I'm upset, my thought might be connected to that said feeling. I'm upset, and then I have this negative thought. So that's how we're able to teach our students, you know, that they're able to recognize their feelings. Okay, now I need to know, what do I need to do to kind of, again, calm down on that thermometer and maybe change my behavior, because I know I don't behave the best when I'm in the red. Usually when I have things that I say that I regret, or I always say, like, that's usually when we're burning bridges with our relationships.
Maybe this one is more for the Canva team, but how do you color in the temperature if you're remote? Or how do they mark color if they're not in a physical classroom? Daniela, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think you could always use the elements in Canva as well to sort of decorate, so you can use shapes to fill that in. So right now, I think those sorts of activities are better suited for printables or in person, but you could also share and add elements and stickers to that as well to demonstrate certain parts being colored in.
And you can always include those, like as a teacher, you can include them into your design and say, like, you know, color this shape to match each emotion. So you can change the worksheets to better suit your learning environment as well.
I can see someone's also asked about the youngest ages for using Canva, which is a great question. We have templates designed from kindergarten to all the way up to college level. So there really is no limit. Obviously, children will have different cognitive abilities and technical abilities. So some of the worksheets are a bit more suited to printables when students are developing their fine motor skills and drawing, but really it's any age level. And like we're saying, every template is customizable, so you can adapt it as well. If you want to make it a bit older or a bit younger, you can do that. So it's very broad, and we have also templates in every sort of subject and topic imaginable as well. And someone's asked about accessing Canva for free. Yes, so basically Canva for Education, just to access it, you need to sign up as a teacher and invite your students to join you. We have that in place because of privacy laws. So the teacher has to bring the students on board. So for K-12 students, the teachers set it up and bring them on board. And I can see about sending to Google Classroom. Yep, you can post any content as an announcement, as materials, as assignments in Google Classroom. So yes, that's also possible. Awesome. Right, I think that's what we've got time for. Like we said earlier, thank you so much everyone for joining. We'll send out all these amazing materials afterwards and in an email, and we'll also share the link so you can access it online later at your leisure. Thank you so much again for everyone who joined us today, and thank you so much to our amazing experts who joined us. It's been really amazing seeing you talk through these wonderful activities, and we really are excited to find out how you're going to use them. Teachers are going to use them with their students. So let us know, join our Facebook community, follow our Twitter, let us know how you get on. We'd love to hear your feedback. So thank you so much again, everyone, and thanks for joining us.